Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar dedicated to odor testing on packaging. Let's wait 1 minute more for everybody to connect. Well, let's start now. First of all, thanks a lot for joining this online session. I'm Marine Douguet. I'm a sensory and molecular consultant at SensNet France. Through this presentation, I'm going to give you some highlights regarding packaging odor testing. Please feel free to submit your questions or comments through the chat feature. We'll provide you an answer by email in the coming days. After a short introduction of the SenseNet company, I'm going to explain you why and how packaging can be a source of taint for products. I will then present you the most common sensory and molecular techniques which are used to detect and describe taints, as well as to identify their root cause. The last part of the presentation will be dedicated to concrete case studies based on projects we conducted at SenseNet for both R&D and quality services. SenseNet is part of the OdorNet Group. The OdorNet Group is the largest odor measurement consultancy in the world, with almost 40 years of experience and practical knowledge resulting from thousands of studies in all relevant sectors. The SenseNet brand, created in 2018, is fully dedicated to odor evaluation of products and materials. SenseNet is a global company with offices and laboratories in Europe, India, and Brazil. Thanks to its deep expertise in sensory and molecular analysis, SenseNet helps companies to improve the sensory attributes and substantiate claims on their consumer products and materials, as well as to unravel and understand the molecular origin and composition of odors. Packagings are designed to fulfill multiple functions such as product integrity and quality preservation, prevention from external contaminations, product handling, storage and transportation, marketing, and information sharing. A large range of materials are used to manufacture packaging. Paper, cardboard, and plastics are the major ones. They represent nearly 80% of the packaging market. The food industry is the main user of packaging. It represents more than 60% of the global production. Pharmaceutical and cosmetic products come in the second and third positions, respectively. If packaging provides efficient protection from external contaminations, it can also be a source of odorous substances or taints. This is a major concern for the industry as it can dramatically impact consumer acceptability and lead to brand image damages. This is why it is really important for companies to anticipate the risk of their product being tainted by packaging. Let's see now how and why packaging can be a source of taint. Two major processes are involved in taint formation. The first one is vapor transfer from packaging to the product. The second one is direct migration of substances from the packaging into the product. Direct migrations are often emphasized by fatty products or fine powders having a high surface area. Taints are often related to one or few compounds which can be present only at trace level, meaning very low concentrations. This is not only the presence of those compounds which determines the formation of the taint. To be detected, the tainting substance must be present at a concentration above its odor or taste threshold. Taints can be linked to many different substances, as they can come from packaging components, for example, like material monomers, varnishes, inks, additives, impurities. They can also be found through manufacturing processes during polymerization, molding, or sterilization steps, for example. Stains can also result from chemical reaction between the packaging and the product. Storage and transportation conditions and duration can also participate to taints occurrence. Majority of taints are detected through odor, either from ortho or retronasal perception for food products. Sometimes, odor packaging contamination does not directly lead to product tainting, but it can anyway release by itself an unpleasant smell when packaging is open, and this can deter consumers from eating or using the product. It is therefore key for industrials to carefully select their packaging materials, to control packaging manufacturing processes, and to adapt storage conditions and duration in order to minimize the likelihood that the packaging becomes a source of taint for a product. For food products, the European Regulation number 9035 states that materials or articles intended to come into contact directly or indirectly with food should not transfer their constituent to food in quantities which could, among others, bring a deterioration in the organoleptic properties of the product, meaning taste, odor, and color. Tests must then be performed to demonstrate a food contact material is compliant with this regulation and to control the risk of a food product being tainted by the packaging. To do so, both sensory and molecular analysis can be used. Indeed, sensory evaluation and molecular analysis provide complementary approaches in food taint analysis. At R&D stage, the first one can be used, for example, to confirm the organoleptic neutrality of a packaging. The second one will help, for example, to compare odor composition and properties of different packaging prototypes. When a taint has been detected, sensory analysis can provide useful and precise description of the nature of the undesired sensory defect, as well as its intensity. Very common descriptors used to characterize taints are, for example, plastic, solvent-like, painty, metallic, or earthy. For root cause determination, analytical techniques like GC sniffing are the method of choice to identify the compound responsible for off notes. In such case, preliminary sensory analysis provides key information to the analyst. This one can then focus on compounds with same odor and same taste characteristics as those described by the panel. Illustrations will be given at the end of this presentation through concrete case studies. Let's focus first on the sensory analysis methodologies available to conclude whether food packaging is a source of taint or not. To answer this question, different testing standards are available. ISO 13302, DIN 10955, EN 1230. SenseNet can build protocols according to one or the other of those three standards. All those standards are inspired by the Robinson test methodology developed by Mr. Robinson in the 60s. Let's see what are the major differences between them. ISO 13302 and DIN 10955 only provide a general frame, where EN 1230 gives a clear testing methodology. The latter standard, however, only applies to food contact materials made of paper and cardboard and not intended to be put in direct contact with the food product. All those standards propose to test both the inherent odor of the packaging and its ability to transfer taint. As for packaging inherent testing, the objective is to evaluate the odor of the packaging or material itself. To do so, a sample of packaging is stored in a glass container under controlled conditions, usually in the dark during 10 to 24 hours at 23 ±2 degrees. After the storage step, the headspace, meaning the odor atmosphere developed in the jar, is evaluated through sensory analysis methods immediately after opening the glass container. One container is prepared for each sensory panelist. As a reference, a container with a controlled packaging not interfering with foodstuff is used. If not available, an empty container prepared in the same conditions may be used. Second part of the testing methodology is the taint test. Objective here is to evaluate the impact of the packaging on the flavor of the foodstuff. To do so, the packaging and the foodstuff are put together in a container under controlled conditions, either in direct or indirect contact. For indirect contact testing, a salt solution should be placed at the bottom of the container to allow constant relative humidity. Whenever possible, it is recommended to use actual foodstuff and storage conditions. If they are not known, it is possible to use food simulants and standard conditions proposed in the standard. If a packaging is intended to be used with multiple types of food, the worst case one should be used. Generally, food simulants consist in liquid and viscous foodstuff for direct contact testing and in dry food for indirect contact testing. For example, EN 1230 uses grated milk chocolate as a food simulant. Milk chocolate is indeed an ideal test medium due to its fatty composition and high affinity with migration compounds. The flavor change of the foodstuff, odor, and taste is finally assessed through sensory analysis methods. As a reference, a container with a controlled packaging not interfering with the foodstuff should be used. If this one is not available, it is possible to use same protocol without packaging for indirect contact or a glass container for direct contact. As for sensory evaluation, many different sensory analysis methods from either discriminative or descriptive testing are allowed for both inherent odor test and taint test. Triangle test and scoring test are the most common methods. Objective of a triangle test is to check whether a difference exists between two products or not. For taint test, for example, the two products tested are the foodstuff which has been in contact with the packaging from one side and the controlled foodstuff on the other side. During the test, each panelist is simultaneously presented with 3 standardized samples, of which 2 are identical and 1 is different. The panelists evaluate blindly the 3 samples and must state which sample is different. Then, by counting the number of correct choice results, and according to ISO 4120 reference tables, we can identify whether or not a detectable difference exists between two samples. When a scoring test is performed, the objective is to assess the intensity of the odor or of flavor on a 5-point scale. The control sample is used as reference. You can see in this table the reference scale proposed by the DIN 10955 standard as an example. The median intensity score within the panel is then calculated. When the median is superior to a defined limit of acceptability, which can vary depending on the standard used, the packaging is considered unacceptable. Generally, the limit of acceptability is a median score inferior to 2 or 2.5. A specific methodology called extended triangle test combines triangle test and scoring test. When the score given by the panelist for odor or of flavor is above 2, he must additionally provide a taint description. As for panel constitution, a minimum of 6 assessors should be used. But the higher the number of panelists, the higher the probability to detect small differences between two samples. Those panelists should be specifically trained to determine odor and taste differences originating from packaging or materials. Our panelists follow a strict selection and training process. After selection and initial training, they receive an additional intensive training to recognize and describe common descriptors related to off-notes and off-flavors. To do so, the SenseNet team developed a recognized international methodology and framework. Objective of this webinar is not to go in deep through the sensory analysis methodologies and panel training. To get more details on those topics, I invite you to register to our webinar, Sensory Analysis to Support the Product Development Chain. As previously mentioned, molecular analysis and especially GC-TOF-MS sniffing is also a very useful technique to determine the root cause of a taint. GC sniffing is a technique combining GC-MS from one side, which allows chemical separation, identification, and quantification of all volatile compounds. We saw previously that the concentrations required to cause a taint may be very low, as few as parts per billion, for example. This means very sensitive analytical GC-MS equipment are required to detect them. SenseNet is equipped with cutting-edge instruments able to identify compounds at concentration 10 to 100 times below the ones of conventional GC-MS systems. And GC sniffing from the other side. This technique provides individual odor compounds description and intensity rating by trained human nose. Finally, by combining cutting-edge molecular equipment and sensory analysis, this methodology allows identification and odor description of individual compounds in complex mixtures. It makes it possible then to identify and quantify the undesired chemicals responsible for the taint detected. For more details on this technique, please register to our webinar, Insights into GC Sniffing Analysis. Now, to better illustrate the usefulness of sensory and molecular analysis in projects related to packaging, let's go through some concrete case studies. Let's start with some projects conducted to support R&D teams in the development and selection of new packaging. We saw previously that packaging components can be responsible for taints. It is therefore key to pay attention to packaging composition during prototype design at R&D stage. The first case study selected is related to a project we conducted for a packaging manufacturer to support him in the qualification of a new polypropylene supplier for business securing. The objective was to evaluate two new grades of polypropylene and to compare their odor properties with the current grade. 3 different plastic packaging have been tested and compared. One made with the current polymer grade, one with the alternative candidate number 1, and one with the alternative candidate number 2. Each packaging headspace has been generated in cellophane bags under controlled conditions. After 24 hours, a sample of headspace has been pumped on Tenax tubes. Samples have been then analyzed by GC sniffing. This slide presents some of the results obtained by GC sniffing. Various descriptors have been used by the operators to describe the odor of the chemical compounds smelled. Those descriptors have been classified by families. We can see on the sensory profile that the main families listed are chemical, putrid, plastic synthetic, fatty, and green vegetal. This profile shows that the current grade and the alternate candidate number 1 exhibit similar sensory profile. On the contrary, the sum of intensities for chemical, putrid, plastic synthetic, fatty, and green vegetal odor families is higher for alternate candidate number 2. The correlation with GCMS results provide useful insights to identify compounds responsible for such a different GC sniffing olfactory profile. Indeed, compounds like acetaldehyde, 2,3-butanedione, hexanal, and C10H16 terpene have been detected through GCMS at higher concentrations in samples made with the alternate candidate number 2 compared to the two others. This is in agreement with the higher intensities obtained in GC sniffing at similar retention times. As for metanthiol associated with a putrid organic odor and butanoic acid with cheesy and putrid odor, they have not been detected in GCMS. However, due to the retention time at which such odors have been smelled and the typical odor description, it has been assumed that those odors correspond to those compounds. This is not surprising they have been detected by GC sniffing and not by GCMS, as the odor threshold value of those compounds are very, very low. Finally, those GC sniffing analysis results confirm alternate candidate number 1 seems to be a good double sourcing of current polypropylene polymer grade. In the second case study, we want to illustrate the Robinson methodology used to determine whether a packaging is a source of taint or not. This project has been conducted for a food manufacturer who wanted to confirm the organoleptic neutrality of the packaging selected for its new food product launch. The sampling protocol has been designed as per ISO 13302 using sunflower oil as a food simulant. As per client request, a defined area of plastic packaging has been put in direct contact with a defined quantity of sunflower oil during 1 hour at 100 degrees. A control sample without plastic packaging has also been prepared. A triangle test hasn't been performed on the oils according to ISO 4120 standard. 30 panelists have been enrolled for this test. They were requested to assess both the odor and the taste of the oils. At the end of the triangle test, the number of correct answers, meaning correct identifications of the different samples among the triad, has been counted. On the 30 answers collected, 8 of them were correct. Referring to ISO 4120 reference tables, we can see that a maximum of 11 correct answers must be given by the panel to conclude both samples are similar. 8 being lower than 11, we can conclude that there is a 90% confidence level that a maximum of 30% of the subjects can distinguish these samples. With the defined risk levels, the selected packaging is thus not supposed to cause flavor modification to the product. Let's see now a case study related to taint root cause determination. In this case study, the client, a packaging manufacturer, encountered a malodor issue with one of its plastic bag reference when used for frozen food. A strong plastic malodor note has indeed been reported by some of its final clients on frozen foodstuffs. The company wanted us to investigate to identify the root cause of those undesirable plastic chemical notes. To do so, packaging headspace after storage at room temperature or at freezer under controlled conditions have been compared through GC sniffing. GC sniffing sensory profiles confirm plastic, chemical, and petrol notes of higher intensities were present in the sample stored at freezer. From GCMS results, we can see a major increase in aliphatic hydrocarbons concentrations in the headspace of the bag stored at Fraser. Such study confirmed storage at Fraser led to a major change in bag headspace composition and odor profile. Those results help the client to define corrective actions to solve this off-note issue. This presentation mainly gave examples applied to the food industry. However, same problems can occur with cosmetic or pharmaceutical packaging. Same methodology related to off odors can apply to such other industrial sectors. For more details, please have a look at other case studies available on our website sensenet.net. As a conclusion, we saw in this webinar that both sensory and molecular analysis can provide useful information to determine upfront whether packaging can be a source of taint or not, and to identify and quantify the chemicals responsible for the undesired odor and/or taste when a taint has been detected. Thanks to its expertise in both sensory and molecular analysis, SenseNet can support you on packaging issues, from selection of the right packaging to identification of the root cause of an unwanted off odor or taste. Well, we are now coming to the end of this webinar. Thanks for your time and attention. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to contact us by email. Following this presentation, you are going to receive an email with a link to the support presentation. Thanks for attending this webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to receive your questions and feedbacks.